Okay. That was my cat. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Great. I try to be as humble as I possibly can, but like I fucking killed this. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you how I made this NAU Grad Cap. And like you can barely see the button, that is the best part. Oh, what a sleigh. Before I rhinestone anything, I'm gonna cut out this logo so that I can put it on the cap and find center. So with some of the elements on this logo, like the U and the middle of this A and then all the lumberjacks lettering, since they all stand alone, I want to find a way to connect them to the logo so that they can all stay together. So essentially what I'm gonna do before I even get into cutting it out, I'm gonna map out some sections where I'll keep the little parts that are kind of standalone connected to the rest of the logo. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom you in really quick. So like this little rectangle right here, I'm not gonna cut this piece of paper out. I'll cut around it though. I connected the U here and as well as up here so that it's a little bit more stable. I'm gonna connect the N right here as well so that I can keep the edges in place. Maybe I'll switch this one down here too. And then in between all the letters, I'm gonna just kind of keep the bottom edges connected, and then I'm gonna connect some small letters up into the bigger letters. I think that's all I need to do for right now, and I'm just gonna use an X-Acto knife to cut everything out. Here is the logo all cut out. All the little pieces of paper that I used to connect everything together, I colored them in black so that you couldn't see them when they're on the cap. The cap that I'm rhinestoning on top of is navy blue. I don't have a navy blue Sharpie, but I'm gonna be rhinestoning the entire background with iridescent. So as long as this color is close enough to the background, it's gonna be masked entirely. The front of the cap is right here. I'm just gonna put a piece of tape on it so that I don't forget. I haven't forgotten ever, but knock on wood, that doesn't happen. I'm gonna see if this will come off. Oh, beautiful. Sometimes these do not come off. They are held on here by the power of the sun. I don't even know. There are times that I have literally rubbed my fingers raw trying to get them off, but this one came off no problem. It'll just screw right back on. And that is perfect because this logo is a little bit more detailed, so it'll be really easy to work around it. Now I'm gonna sit here for 30 minutes and figure out where center is, and as soon as I get that done, I will be right back. Okay, so I found the center actually pretty quickly. After like 5 minutes of trying to get it placed correctly, I figured out that the peak of the A was the center, and also I colored it in. Oh, the top is right here. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't usually do that for any of the caps, but I thought that maybe right now I could try. Nothing will be affected. The glue will stick the same. The rhinestones will stick the same. It's not gonna be any different. I just thought it would look nice, so there's that. So now what I'm gonna do is just put the little button right back on, and I'm gonna trace around the button, and then this little section is what will be cut out. And there you have it. And then later I will just glue this on and I'll rhinestone right on top of it. Now I'm gonna show you guys how I prep my grad caps like in detail. All I'm gonna use is an X-Acto knife and some double-sided tape. This is technically fashion tape, but it's all I have and it works great. First thing, having the button off is gonna make this so much easier. I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and I'm literally just gonna make a giant X. I just cut around the post of the cap and now I have 4 triangles. Now that everything is removed from the post, what I'm gonna do is just make 4 more lines directly down the middle of these triangles. Hi, I just realized that I recorded this entire part of the NAU cap with my SD card completely out of memory. So I'm gonna show you on this cap how I tape these little sections down so that they're taut against the board and easy to rhinestone on top of. Also, I have no idea where my double-sided tape went. I don't know if I went through it all or what, but I don't have it. Pretend that I'm using it, but I'm gonna be using this like permanent like rolly tape instead, just for the sake of this video. You're gonna place tape around on this edge, and then you're gonna place tape on this edge, and you can even like go a little bit underneath if you'd like, just to get the corners really secured down. Imagine you're doing this with tape, or you can use the same thing that I'm using. I just got this at Michael's. Then all you're gonna do is just pull this as tight as you can and secure it down, and just press it down pretty firmly so that it stays. What I forgot to do, because I'm doing this like very last minute and I apologize, cut the tops of the triangles off because you're gonna stretch them and they're gonna get in the way anyways. The logo on this cap is gonna cover this whole thing, so I'm not really gonna worry about it. But in the NAU cap, I do color it in black because of the details of the logo, and I just wanna make sure that it's all covered and not making anything too difficult later. But there's one little section and it's super flat against the board, and it's gonna be a dream to rhinestone on top of this. And then you just keep doing that over and over again until you get everything secured down down essentially. And that is how I tape down the fabric to make sure that the next steps are so much easier. So I got it as flat as possible. It's not super pretty, but again, you're not even gonna know. For the parts of the cardboard that were still showing through, I just used a black pen to color it in. I'm gonna put this off to the side and work on the logo. Honestly, this logo is gonna be super hard to talk about and to walk you through because there's just so much going on. Regardless, I'm gonna show you guys what materials I'm gonna use for the logo. If you can tell in this little hat, there are black lines that go in the navy blue part of it. So I just drew over them in pencil to kind of define them a bit better. So I have some SS16 navy blue stones. I've got some SS10. I've got SS8 right here. And I also have SS6, which is the smallest that these go. And then for the black stones, I have SS16. I have some SS10 right here. They're kind of mixed up. Don't mind that. I've got SS6 and I've got SS3. And then in all the white areas, I'm going to be using iridescent stones. I have SS3, SS4, and I think SS6 in here. And then I've got SS8 and SS10 in this little divider. I'll pull out the SS16 when I need it, but for right now, I definitely don't need it. And then for the skin tone, I'm going to be using these champagne stones. So there's SS16, SS10, and SS3 in here. Because the head is going to be the most difficult part, I think I'm going to do that off camera. And then I'm going to come back, I'll explain kind of what I did, and then I'll show you how I did the other parts of the logo. I have the face all done. I'm having so much fun with this because it's like drawing with rhinestones, and I love projects like this. And I decided that I was going to use these lemon yellow rhinestones for the shirts. I feel like that color compared to the topaz matches the logo better. I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to fill in like this section right here. It's literally just putting rhinestones wherever they kind of fit, just taking E6000 like I always do. I'm gonna work in small sections because it's getting details and I just don't wanna have any glue dry on me anywhere. Applying slight pressure to get some glue out. And then what I'm gonna do is kind of fill in all the black areas first and then go in with the yellow. Using SS16 stones where I can. Caps like this are the reason why I have so many small stones. It helps in general just to have as many sizes as you can. If I didn't have SS3 stones, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be able to get these really detailed lines. These stones are super tiny and they can be really finicky to work with, but when you use them all the time, they're really easy and they're really fun and they're really satisfying as well. But yeah, and then I can kind of just fill in the rest of the space with these bigger stones, and then I'll get a really tiny stone to fill in this little gap right in between. I'm essentially just gonna do that and work in really tiny sections all the way through, just placing stones where I see fit. Like I probably could fit one more right here where the glue is still wet. This whole process depends on a bunch of different sizes of stones. If you're gonna do something detailed like this, it'll definitely benefit you. If you're just gonna do something like the lettering, you won't have to have that many different sizes. When you get to these like small detailed lines on the knuckles and like in the chest and on these little buttons, you're just not going to be able to get the same effect if you only have one or two sizes, especially if they're like SS16 and SS10. I'm going to keep going on this shirt, but when I get to this arm, I will come back. Okay, so I got kind of carried away and forgot to record like this arm like I said I would. I've said it a bunch before, but it really just is a game of like what rhinestones fit where. And I also did the lettering on the bottom, and also in the little areas where I had the paper connecting, I filled them in with the iridescent stones already, so that when they go on the cap, they're already gonna be filled in. I've decided that I'm gonna glue this onto the cap first before I do these letters, only because I think it's gonna be a pain in the ass if I do the letters first, maybe with like a syringe or something, and then try to glue them on the cap. I feel like the glue is just gonna get everywhere, and if it gets everywhere, I might as well just have it cover the letters and then just cover that in rhinestones, if that makes sense. I'm gonna try to capture that for you guys because I feel like that would be a learning process for the both of us. I love navy blue stones. You can't really tell that they're navy blue, but in the sunlight, they are absolutely gorgeous. If you have very minor bubbling, it's very easy to like press them with like books or something after they've been rhinestoned, so don't worry too much about those. Really nice thing about getting your center first is that you can basically just plop it down and figure out the spacing and then get it on there pretty quickly. You have a little bit of time after you start gluing to kind of shift things around if you need to. And for good measure, I'm going to have some iridescent stones on deck just in case any of the glue like squishes out from the bottom of the logo. I have some SS8 stones here. Here's SS10, and then I have SS16 as well. Just little teeny tiny guys in here. I'm just gonna kind of move section by section to make this as seamless and as not terrifying as possible. I'm literally just gonna put glue underneath where I think it's gonna need it and then just kind of put it on there, I guess. This part is not a very pretty part of the process, I am not gonna lie. You just wanna make sure that it gets stuck to the cap. And it's okay if glue gets everywhere because you're gonna cover it anyways. Once I have this logo all dried down, I will come right back and show you guys how I do the letters because I am not sure how I'm gonna tackle those. I've done a decent amount since I've last checked in. I just wanted to kind of get started on the iridescent stones before trying the bottom just because I got nervous. So I think what I'm gonna do is just start with the R and move out so that it lays as flat as possible because if I start from one side, it might bubble this way. Let's just trial and error, I guess. A little bit of glue and then like I can like flatten it out. Okay, I did it a lot better with the J. Yeah, okay, wait, this is working. This is working really well, actually. This is going a lot better than I thought it was going to. I'm basically just putting like a tiny bit of glue like right underneath it and then kind of just spreading it thin because it's just paper. It's not like it needs like a ton of glue to get it to stick, you know? Stick it down in the glue that it is on top of, flatten it a little bit, but eventually it'll just stay stuck. Just as long as you have a solid surface to work on, doesn't matter if it's ugly, you'll be able to make up for it later, so I'm not concerned. That was so much easier than I thought it was gonna be. It's a mess, but it works, and that's all that matters. Right now, I'm just gonna keep working on this part just so I can chip more away, but if you can tell, I pretty much just do rows of SS16 and honeycomb everything until I can't. When I get around like the curved edges, I use the smaller rhinestones, the really teeny tiny ones kind of around the edges. That's why it's really, really nice to have multiple sizes on hand. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing for the letters before I showed you what I was doing. It took me a second around the S and the K to kind of get the hang of it, but I think I have it down now. This only took me like 20 minutes, so it's not that bad. Like I always say, it's just kind of a matter of where the rhinestones fit. What I've been doing is covering like the whole letter and then up above it as well so that it easily will blend up into the rest of whatever I rhinestone. Just kind of fill in this area, but not too much because like you're working in pretty small sections and you can't see anything now, shit. Well, just bear with me. I'm taking my SS10 navy blue rhinestones and I'm just gonna place them here. If I need to fill in anything with like an iridescent stone, I will. It is literally like playing a game of Tetris, I swear. Hopefully the M is kind of coming into fruition on camera. And then there is the M. I'll do the U just for safekeeping. Hopefully having it from afar will help you see the vision a little bit quicker. So there's the U. Hopefully watching that kind of happen made more sense, but I'm gonna keep going and then I will come back when I am just about finished. You can't really see it, but here's the cap. It's all done, but I still have the button left to do. So what I did is I took that little piece of paper that I cut out at the very beginning and I just glued it on. You kind of have to hold it in your hand and like rotate it in your fingers so that all the edges stick down. This little peak right here is just what was cut out of the logo. I have all of my rhinestones here. I'm gonna start with the hand. I feel like that'd be the easiest to kind of map out first. I'm gonna try to show you this as best I can. But when you are doing the button, you want to work in very small sections because the stones like tend to slide because it's round. Just put some glue on there. I'm gonna use my crystal picker to kind of spread the glue out. Continue this little like black line that separates the fingers. And I'm just filling in the hand part. Thank goodness this button on this particular cap came off because this is making it so much easier. Kind of using my imagination on where it would continue on the sides. Definitely is a tedious process. I'm gonna let this set for just a bit and then I will do the other side and come back. That is all for this tutorial. I hope I answered some of your questions. I'm starting 2025 off very strong with this grad cap. I'm so excited to give this to my customer. I'm so excited for her to see it. She was really worried about this logo being a little bit too detailed and then I was like, no girl, I got you. I literally can't stop looking at it. Oh my god, this is why iridescent stones are my favorite. I could do this for hours. Holy shit. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. You can also email me or DM me on TikTok or Instagram. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.